Hi, I'm Tobias Turley.
And I'm Henry Calvert.
And welcome to Season 2
of The Scene Stealers. For all things movies,
theatre,
TV,
be it reviews,
news,
and interviews,
we've got you covered.
So, come with us for Season 2 of The Scene Stealers.
For your weekly dose of pop culture goodness. That's right, I'm Henry Calvert.
And I'm Tobias Turley.
And welcome to a very special episode of Scene Stealers with Iván and Keelan.
The boys are here!
Kit.
Get in the flesh, baby.
Iván, Fernandez, Gonzalez, Keelan, McAuley.
Happy to be
Welcome
here.
to the podcast. Fernandez, Gonzalez.
What's your last name?
Fernandez, Gonzalez.
So where does Fergon come from?
Fernandez.
Oh, I'm a silly man. I'm a silly man.
Idiot.
Classic.
Idiot.
My mom was trying to pronounce it. My mom was like,
Most people don't.
Iván, Fernandez, Gonzalez.
Most people think my name is just Fergon, but
Yeah, I thought
it's an abbreviation.
Anyway,
Your name's not easy, man. For a newcomer, it's a hard name.
Yeah.
Iván, Fernandez, Gonzalez.
But yeah, we've got Kit all on this episode. As some of you might know if you're long-time fans of Tobias, Iván's or Keelan's, these three live together and have lived together since university.
Well, you two live together.
We lived together at university, and then we moved in after.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Because we graduated.
Oh, wait,
you
no,
lived
I'm
together.
wrong.
That's right.
We lived together for 2 years, uni. Then I moved to London, and then you guys moved in together for a year, and then we all moved in together a year
and
later.
a half ago, yeah.
Because you went on a cruise, I went on a tour.
We were working boys.
You went on the island.
Yeah, because when we lived together, I left to go on tour. I came back, and both you and Morgan, who was our other flatmate, left. And so I was living with like two randos. And then I went and lived in Wimbledon. I can't say that. Then I went and lived in about. I was about to give away our address. I lived
Bleep it out.
near this general area for like 6 months, and then we moved in together.
I saw your flat here.
You did.
Came
It was
once.
very nice.
But you guys all did go to GSA together.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is how we met.
You were the same year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did shows together. We did.
And the second day I ever met Toby, the second day I ever met Toby in Freshers, I pinned him up against a brick wall in a club.
Bro, we nearly fought Toby.
This was bad.
Early days.
Wait, how did that come about?
Okay, so basically I was going through it because I was like having such
He was in
like
the thick of it.
regrets about coming to school in England because I was like, man, all these British people don't understand me, like I don't understand them, this humor's there. I was having major cultural shock. And then I think that it just happened to be that Toby made a joke about being Canadian when I was like going through that. And then again, I remember thinking in my head, I was like, one more person to like rip me a new one for being Canadian, I'm gonna fucking blow. Wait, can I swear? I'm gonna blow up on. So then, and he swear. No, I said fuck. I was like, I'm gonna blow up on the next person that said something, and then Toby happened to be that person. And then I remember I grabbed him by the scruff of his neck, I pushed him against the brick wall, and I was like, what did I say? I was like, never talk about Canada again, or something. And then you were like, yeah, okay. You're like, this was taller than
I was in my
this.
How I Met Your Mother era again, and so I was being Barney, and I was like, bloody Canada.
Yeah. Because I hadn't seen How I Met Your Mother at the time.
Yeah,
either.
you didn't get the reference.
And then fast forward, and here we are. So
look at us
like,
now.
it's
But
so
that was early, that was
strange.
fresher, so like
Yeah,
we
I've known
thought
you, like,
Keelan was
2
gonna be a
days.
very violent man. He
Yeah.
wasn't ever again.
No, that's the like
He
the
was
only
never
like
violent
that's like
ever
the
again.
only violent outburst I've like ever had, pretty much. Like.
Yeah.
So funny. I remember that
But,
clear
yeah.
as day. Was it in
I was there. I
33
saw
hertz?
it in the flesh. It was great.
It was in 33 hertz. Yeah. But yeah,
God.
and here we are.
And now look
we're all
at
best
us.
friends.
So how did that work? Kind of. How did your dynamic develop through school, through uni? I mean, were you guys close friends then, or is it only kind of since then that you've really grown?
Well, yeah, we became
were
friends
friends
instantly
early
because we were
on.
like, oh, we kind of sound the same. Like we're both not British, so we became friends like
We
instantly.
were both struggling with the whole like just adapting to
Like
the
lad
UK
culture.
banter.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just trying to catch the vibe, trying to figure out
My name's bullying you.
how to socialize. Yeah.
And I was like, hey, anyone gives you trouble,
You let me know.
It's not,
Give me a call.
you know when you're at uni and like people try to like make make friends to like lock in like a house group.
Yeah.
To move into a house.
And you have to do that very
This guy locked in quick.
I got groomed.
This guy locked in quick with a different group. So then Keelan and I were like, yeah, we were stressing at the time.
Yeah,
we were like, man, all the cool people, they fucking got their own
I
house.
think that was
what are we
because
gonna do? Then we made our own house.
I was worried as well. I was like, if I don't lock in ASAP, I'm going to be living by myself in second year. I don't want that. So I was like, just lock in. And luckily, it was generally a very nice group of lads. There was one massive standout of that, but
anyways, then eventually, yeah, in second year and stuff like, in third year, you just started coming over to our house a lot, and then
well, because obviously we had COVID as well, so we couldn't really do much. So we were just in the flats a lot.
Yeah.
Because we were a bubble, we were kind of allowed to mix on each. So we used to play like Risk and board games and stuff, didn't we?
Yeah.
Our year blended together.
Yeah.
We had a lot of classes together.
We had a lot of classes. We were pretty much every
we were
class.
together throughout most of the training, I think.
Yeah.
And then you and I were in the same year half in
third year.
But and then so it just kind of grew from that.
Yeah. When you were at GSA, what shows did you do together? Did you do any shows together?
We all did the same
We all
Titanic
did Titanic together. Yeah.
Which is so funny to look back on now. We still have the footage.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put some.
Put
a little Titanic.
Put a little clip. You were singing your solo, and I was in the background shoveling. That was essentially what happened.
I will always remember your bit with Joe Saunders and James Monk.
Yeah, and when I fucked it up, and then I messed up the best take. Yeah.
Well then, Mr. Ismay.
Yeah.
For your.
And they both did Secret Garden.
Oh
yes,
God,
we both did Secret Garden. We both stood and held candles.
Yeah, candles as plants. Yeah.
When I was in year 11, I was Archibald Craven. I've got some footage of me just screaming.
Lily's eyes.
That's the dad.
Get the footage on the screen now.
That's the dad.
Where's my son?
Yeah.
Do you have a Secret Garden as well? No,
bro. I got bootlegs of everything. Of course. I was like, again, I'm the tech guy, so like I made sure I had a whole strategy as to how to bootleg, because it was COVID times, so they were filmed and shown live.
Right, of course. Yeah.
I mean, what?
I was just saying this guy.
He was doing
pretending that I don't.
But I figured out a whole process to be able to like screen record them and the audio. It's
such a good idea.
You have to download a few things and stuff.
Right.
Now I
so
have
when it came
all
to
the
COVID
things.
with drama school, how did you kind of cope with the dance element? I mean, all of it, because drama's such a company-based thing. When you can't do much with company,
it was
how
bad.
did that work?
It was bad.
I mean, when it all started, you hear stories about people doing dance classes on Zoom. And
And then when it got really bad and they were like, go home, I went back to Canada, and like all the classes that I should have been attending were like at like 4 a.m. for me.
So how much did you actually do? I don't know if I asked you.
No, I joined any class that started at like 7 a.m. my time. I joined for that.
Oof.
And then the other ones I would just like watch back if I needed to do stuff. Or whatever. But then like tapping in your room like on a carpet, like just trying to do that. It was just like it's kind of a joke. Like I don't know. It just didn't.
Awful.
I appreciated the effort. Like they tried. Like they did try, but
it was hard.
It just didn't work.
Some things worked. I think singing lessons were okay. It's definitely better in person.
Yeah.
But I think singing lessons were still something that like it was still helpful.
Especially in like my house, I live with 5 other boys, and a lot of us were in the same dance classes, and so we're all in our tiny kitchen trying to do a ballet lesson, where the teacher's in the studio, and there's just no room. And it was like obviously it's nowhere near what it should have been. But
do you feel that all kind of shortchanged by that, or if it kind of you received some different level of training to people that had the full experience, or is it just something you want to crack on with, I guess?
I mean,
I
recognize they did the best they could. Like, I don't think we were being like, I feel like they were doing everything they could to make sure we were still training. But dance-wise, for sure, we didn't, we missed out on months.
And the acting on camera unit was basically just like down the toilet.
It's weird, isn't it? I don't know how we would have turned out if we had like the proper training, but I feel like
I mean, somehow we've all found our way.
I think we all pushed.
And our year's done really well considering like the time that we graduated in. Hello.
And then that kind of leads into everything else, because when we were finally able to come back, the only show we were able to do live was outdoors. We did 12th Night the musical.
Yeah.
And we were all in
They were
that.
both leads in
We
that.
were like the two male leads
We
in
were.
that. But then that is also when Iván at the time had gotten Heather's, because that was the last show of our third year, and he had already gotten Heather's, so he was like going to do Heather's rehearsal in the day, coming back, like catching up on like the show.
Yeah.
Was that encouraged by your teachers? Because you're missing class and then go to work. I mean,
Yeah, well, it was. I booked it like, it was like near the end, and because of COVID, they ended up like rearranging a lot of our projects and stuff, and I actually got to a point where like I wasn't gonna miss anything that was like graded or anything, because after that show, they did the showcase that you do for like agents and stuff.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
do the showcase.
Yeah,
I
normally
did
that was
it.
beforehand, wasn't
And
it?
that
Moved around.
it just worked out that actually usually that's graded and part of the degree,
Yeah.
but this time it wasn't. It was just
Yeah.
a nice thing that they were doing.
They
So I was-
often let people leave early to go do shows, and then instead of grading you on the final show, they grade you on the show you're in town or wherever.
right.
But they didn't even do that for me.
Did they not?
No,
Oh,
because
you didn't. They
because it
didn't
was we were doing 12th night and I was rehearsing for Heather's and then leaving rehearsals to get a train back to do the shows of 12th night. Like my first week was our show week of 12th night, so I'd come back, do the show, come back to London, sort of back and forth. But I did 12th night, got graded on that, and that was the last thing we were getting graded on.
That was such a fun show.
So straight out of uni, you went into Heather's.
Heather's,
What was
yeah.
your first gig out of uni?
Hill behind the hill.
Okay.
Whoa.
I'm going to preface this story before he gets this story. We were living together, and we were working in the same pub. I was working at the pub. I didn't think you started going to the pub yet. But then Keelan told me he got this job. Like he just got offered this job. And I was so jealous. I was like, oh, I can't believe it. Everyone's getting jobs. He's got a job. I'm not getting a job. It was fine. Explain the job.
Well, it was a student written piece that like one out of the writing program to be produced and put on for like 2 days or something like that. And I think we'll leave it there. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there.
Keelan was by far the best thing in it.
It was a good experience. Everyone involved was super lovely. It's just like when your first thing out of school, like I just expected it to be something different, and then it just was just different. And
The way I would
there.
describe it is it's another How I Met Your Mother reference. Do you remember in like the first few seasons, Lily does a play, and they all go see it, and Barney is like, I don't want to come see your rubbish little play.
Oh, gotcha.
If any of you know what I'm on about, that's how I kind of remember it.
But yeah.
Keelan
Anyways,
was very
aside
good.
from that, my first gig out of school was working at the Antelope pub in Tuning with Toby, and it was awesome.
me.
Toby and I worked at mini bars together, and it's a good time.
We've gone job skipping.
Yeah,
haven't we?
but then also, oh no, I wasn't doing Spider-Man parties at that point. Then my actual first job was I was doing Grease the musical with Royal Caribbean, and that was for like a year. That's when I moved out of our flat in Tooting, and yeah, I did that.
So Grease Cruise, Heather's, and then you.
My first one was the Panto in Mansfield.
Amazing, but then all of you have done Heather's, and I think it would be amiss of us if we didn't talk about this. You two have just finished the tour.
The latest tour in town.
So you have you been in Heather's since?
No, as in like this. So this was my third time
Going
doing
into
Heather's, but every time's been slightly different. So the first time was at the Royal Haymarket before I went back to the other palace and stayed there for a while.
Yeah.
So I did it.
Who was in the original cast with you then?
I did it with Jodie Steele, Christina Beddington, and Jordan Luke Gage, and
Legends.
Francis was in it as well. A few people. Did that then for 3 months, just the summer, and it was one of the shows. It was when they were just starting to open the West End back after COVID. So when we started, like they were still having all the audiences in masks, and it was a third capacity. So they were selling the theater to literally a third. But it was still like, it was surprising how loud they were regardless, because this was like the first ever cast since the Jamie cast that everyone was obsessed with. So like there was still like a lot of hype back then, and it had been COVID, so everything had been closed. Everyone was really excited. Did that for 3 months, and then I joined the first sort of other Palace cast when it was like returning and staying there for a while.
Yeah.
When all the buzz was about like Hannah Lowther doing Heathers, I was in that cast. But when I did that cast, I got the dance captain position as well. So it was a little different experience, more responsibility. And then I didn't touch it. I did that for 3 months and then moved on to do other things and stuff. Didn't do it for like 2 years.
We came close to doing
it, and
it
came
together.
back just very recently. Yeah, you did it recently after I left.
3 months after you. I think there was a cast for 3 months and then my cast for 6 months.
Yeah,
we were close.
I was
considering we've all done it so many times. It's weird that we've not had any crossover.
Yeah. So when did you do it, Keelan?
Yeah, I did the most recent one. What
you only done it once.
I've only done it once.
Last summer.
Only
so
done it once.
That's the most recent tour.
Town and tour.
Town and tour.
That was
You've done it 3
Soho
times.
Place.
With it, I've done it once.
You've done it once. So you've been Prince JD, correct?
Yes.
Correct. You've been JD.
First time around, crazy.
First time around. Well done, Keelan. Yes.
Thank you.
You've been Kurt.
I've done a few.
He's played them all.
I was originally Preppy Stud. Used to cover around.
You get your
Sweeney.
kit off in it, don't you?
Yeah. And I played Kurt Kelly recently.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
you've also
covered
played JD.
Covered
Preppy, covered Kurt, played Ram.
Covered
Ram,
I
played
was
Kurt.
Preppy, covered Ram. And then this last time that I've done it, I was Kurt covered JD.
And that was my track. I was Kurt covered
So I
JD.
played 4 different roles.
And I remember Toby called me. I was on the cruise. I only had like essentially 1 day a week I could do like phone calls if I didn't want to pay for Wi-Fi. And it was one of the times we were calling, and you told me that you were actually, this is a weird full circle thing, because you told me that you had an offer for Elton in the OG Clueless workshop.
Yeah.
But you were waiting to hear from Heathers.
This was a stressful time because Heathers famously cast quite late. They leave it a bit late. And so on the Friday, imagine it was Friday, I was at the zoo. Excuse me, we're recording in here. On the Friday, I got an offer to do the Clueless workshop. And my agent told me that, and then told me that we're also waiting to hear back from Heathers. Bear in mind, Heathers rehearsal starts in 2 days' time on the Monday. And so you either accept Clueless, which is a workshop, and do that, or you say no to Clueless and bet on the fact that you're going to get Heathers and start in 2 days' time. So I could either say no to Clueless, not get Heathers, and just end up with nothing.
Yeah.
So it's tough. And I remember I was on the way home from the zoo, and I was on the phone from the zoo, and I said I'm going to say no to Clueless and hopefully get. Because I remember I was walking past the tiger enclosure when I was on the phone.
What the heck?
I remember it.
Wow.
It was the meerkat and the tigers were very close. So I always thought that was a bad mix. But yeah, I said no to Clueless, and then the next day I found out I got Heathers, which was thank God for that. Because
You called me. I was on tour.
I think you were the first person I rang.
You called me. You're like, bro, I'm doing Kirk Kelly.
I remember I was on the helipad. I was on the helipad on the phone with you. I was like,
I also remember when you were on the cruise as well. I remember I was in a hotel. I was touring with Strictly in like Manchester or somewhere, and I rang to tell you I got West Side Story as well. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Because you were gone for so long.
I know, it was crazy.
You've been a while.
It was crazy. I had to get my bread up.
You had to keep that bread
I had
up.
to get my bread up.
Dude, we're here in London keeping the bread low.
Well, all 3 of you had played JD and Heathers. What would each of you say is the hardest part about that role? Keelan, start.
Okay.
Try and give different answers.
I think that I'll leave the vocals out of it. I'll leave the vocals out of it. Because like that's just like an easy, meant to be yours. This is hard to sing. Like everyone knows that. But I think the hardest thing was trying to reach that dark and vulnerable of a place every single show. Especially when, you know, it was slightly easier when we were in the West End because it was fresh and like, you know, we're in London, the crowds are amazing every night.
Yeah.
Like, but then, you know, on a Thursday afternoon in Perth, trying to whip up this emotion and like tears and all this trauma with your dead mom, like, and you know, personally, I found that like I have to kind of like quite personalize things to get to that level, and you know, it really sucks that there's like, doesn't suck, but like, you know, he literally sings a line and says, "See, now I'm crying too." It's like so it's like, you know, like it's and I found it tough, and like it was just like emotionally draining because I really did try every show to like, I wanted to give everyone the same show.
Yeah, of course.
No matter where I was.
What,
like,
I'm
I
not
tried.
just saying this. You were phenomenal. Yeah. You were so good.
Thank you.
And everyone I've spoken to has said the same thing.
Thank you very much.
Really
so I wanted to do it justice, and because it was my first like big thing in the UK, I really wanted, like, I didn't want to like ever coast. I really wanted to give my best every time. So it was tough emotionally. Like I was like, God, I can only think about my mom dying so much in a week. Like, you know, and it's like,
strain,
and because you know, it's all the trauma with the dad and stuff. And I was like, I just like having to like keep like play over these fake scenarios of like some like deadbeat dickhead dad abusing your mom until he drives her to kill herself. Like that was pretty tough. And then it's like, you get through that, it's like, okay, I got another evening show, and now we're doing 2 other double show days back to back. Like, so yeah, that's what it was for me. But go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I feel like when you ask the question, yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is "Meant to Be Yours," that song, just because.
Is that the "You Were Meant to Be Mine"? Or?
Yeah.
Open the door, please. Yeah.
That part is actually of the easier parts of the song. It's just it goes crazy high and it stays there, and it's like it
modulates.
It's the most emotional moment.
Yeah.
So you can't really play it safe. You have to like give it.
You have to like go crazy, go full out, but still be hitting some crazy notes. And it's also like there's barely any space to breathe. It's very like boom, 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 boom. Like there's no moment to breathe. So
if you're not breathing down it, you're
like by the end of it, your neck is like about to like explode. Like that song is just it's horrible. But it's also like, but it works. Like you get lost in it. But if not that, there's surprisingly a lot of prop work going on with JD. I feel like many a times, because you're so lost in this character that's so complex, you'll forget, oh, I need to have like a gun in my back pocket, like way back at the beginning of the scene, so I can pull it out later on. And like I mean, it happens sometimes that you forget the gun.
I left the gun once.
I will never forget.
What do you do in the scenario where you leave the gun?
I said my line. I said my line as if I was going, and I was like, don't even speak. Like I did that, and she got the message. And then I just walked off stage, grabbed it, and came back on. And Jenna just improvised some stuff, and she was like, "Well, you're gonna walk away at a time like this?" And then as soon as I came back in, she had improvised just enough so that we picked up right at the perfect spot to continue the scene. And and that's the only time I ever did.
I never forgot the gun. But there was one time we were doing it. We had a load of cast illness, and they wouldn't cancel the show for some reason. So they made us do a sat-down concert version of the show in the other palace. It was awful. So we had like 12 chairs. We all sat in chairs, and we would stand up whenever our character spoke and whatever. It honestly was
as if
really
it's
bad.
like a read-through.
Like a workshop.
Yeah, as if it was a read-through, because they were like, it was what it was. But the guy playing JD is one of my really close friends, Nate, and because obviously we were sat down, he forgot the gun, but a lot of us had our other props, like the mallets and stuff. And so it got to the bit where it was like at the end of Our Love Is God, and he didn't work out what to do, and so he put his hands in both of the trench coat jackets, and he put his fingers out like this as if they were guns.
Bam! The Jesse Pinkman in El Camino.
Yeah. He was like, get off the damn fence! It was so good. So good.
Maybe I should have just done
Honestly, I think we all started crying with laughter. It was so funny.
The first time I played JD in Meant to Be Yours as well, the gun like fell off like where I had it, and I had to like pick it up mid-song, and it was like...
What did you think the hardest part was?
Yes.
I think maybe just the upkeep, like keeping my voice healthy for 8 shows a week. Because I think I only did it. I think I did a full 8 shows once as JD, but I had like a 4-show weekend every now and again or whatever. But
Yeah.
even like that one week, keeping up the health, especially because I wasn't as good of a singer back then as I was now, so it'd be different doing it now. But keeping myself healthy and my voice where it needed to be is probably the hardest thing, I'd say.
What's your favourite part about that show, just in general?
In general?
Yeah.
Oh, the darkness.
Yeah.
I love it that it's. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the movie, to take the tropes and flip it on its head. And I love it because I love a dark comedy.
Yeah.
And just like how I like Heather for the same reason I like Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
That like, it's so funny and so campy and quirky, but then it really takes a turn and goes down a crazy dark path. Like, and I just love that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so I love like Black Mirror and stuff. You know, they always like set the premise of like some like nice cutesy world and then some crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
I love it.
Iván, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, whenever people come to see the show, I'm like really excited when they don't know anything about it, because they don't expect it to be as dark as it gets. So it's like a very pleasant surprise that it's like, oh, they're actually like taking risks with this show.
Yeah.
But I like the music. I mean, I think. Sorry. I mean, the music is just really good.
Yeah,
it's
great.
phenomenal. It like.
Everyone knows it.
Everyone on TikTok
knows,
freaking loves it.
Kevin Murphy, Larry O'Keefe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Larry
We love you.
God said. Great stuff.
Why do you think it's resonated with this kind of like modern audience? Like, I mean, it is everywhere. I think it's kind of hit the social media trend.
It was like the first
time.
big one
Yeah.
to hit it.
It's always confused me why it resonates so well, because the fan base is quite young, and yet the themes are very mature and very, very dark. And so I've never fully understood it, but I don't think I need to.
The fan
really.
base are feral for it.
Yeah.
They love it.
That original bootleg that went viral in like 2014 or something, that reached like mainstream kids too. I think just because it was something, you know, in a post Columbine world, young people Columbine, like the first big school shooting that set off a chain reaction of school shootings, because the others was all before that, you know. In a post Columbine world, I think that no one dared to touch that, to tread into those waters. I don't think that people wanted to make content about a show or a movie where there's a school shootings. But because it's so well done and so good and actually extremely informative and educational. I mean, yes, the romanticization of JD has gotten out of hand, but put that aside.
But I wouldn't say the show's trying to, as in like, I think that's a lot of people who see the show.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah,
they themselves romanticize it, but I don't think the show is trying to romanticize it.
No, the show doesn't at all.
But like, I don't think that any of the violence in that show is gratuitous. Like, I think it all really is done smartly, and if you are viewing it objectively, it's educational.
What a brilliant clip that is. What a great clip. Well done.
Alright, let's get out of this serious guff.
Yeah, sorry.
Alright, let's talk about tour life. I want to talk about tour life, because you guys have been on tour for a while, you've done tours before. Everyone who's done theatre get used to kind of like the family vibe that you get. But I imagine when you go on tour, it's another thing entirely. You're exploring new places with these people. Like, how does it feel coming out of that? Like, you spent months and months exploring and living with each other.
Our tours were very different, because you did weeklies, like you changed place every week, whereas I changed place every night. So I didn't really get to see. It's a wild, savage.
It's more like concert-y.
Yeah, but we didn't get really to see much of any city we were in, because we would travel in the morning, get to the theatre. Pretty much as soon as we're there, we'd tech. We'd have to do a sound check again. We do all the big numbers, which would take about 2.5 hours every day. And the time between finishing that and warm up at like 6 was the time you had to go get food and explore the city. So if you were done quicker, or if it took if it was less of a drive, you probably have more time. I think the max we'd ever have would be like 3 hours or something. But if it was like a longer drive, you'd maybe have like 45 minutes. And then so it's hard. But what do you guys think? Because I loved traveling the place and just seeing the little nooks and crannies of the UK.
What do you prefer? Like, do you prefer the tour kind of like going around, being in new places, or do you prefer having the base?
I prefer
having the base.
By miles. I mean,
I thought it was really cool to tour.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I've done that experience. I'm sure I will at some point again, but like, it's
we were
nice
spoiled.
to not know. Yeah,
like we were spoiled because we did a tour
together. Yeah.
And did you do that after your stint in London?
Yeah. So we did 6 weeks in the West End, and then we set out on the road.
toured together.
Yeah.
Oh right.
So, like,
and that's all the same company as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. We left
Yeah, we left. It was very sad.
But to have the opportunity to tour with like one of your best friends and like share a dressing room and like also like one of the worst things about touring is like you're like this like really tight bubble.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a summer camp that like never ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you get close and then you get too close and then it gets weird about that. So it was nice to like do a show with someone that like I trust completely and we could just live together and not ever have to worry about.
So good.
I think I would have had a completely different experience if we weren't in the tour together.
When I've toured before, it's been like really tough. I'd say. Like I feel like a lot of people's like mental health is really tested on a tour.
And do production companies support you with that at all? Is there much kind of I take that as a no?
There's a distinct lack of.
It's not like the US.
A lot of help. Yeah. They obviously you get a fee to help you book your places where you're going to stay, but that's pretty much it. We have to decide where we stay. We have to sort it. We have to book it.
What, when you're on tour?
Yeah.
Yes, you got to book your own
all our
digs,
accommodations and our travel. So in the US or like
How do you travel?
Yeah. So in the US or like European countries or whatever, whenever they do tours, you get a tour bus, so everyone goes together.
That's what I assumed.
And it's organized, and you.
That's what you think.
And they also sort your accommodations at all the different places, so you just go and do your job. But here we have to be our own like accountants and run like a different Airbnb for every single week for months on end, and get our trains ahead of time so they're cheaper. It's horrible.
Yeah. But that's not anything.
No wonder you'd rather stay.
Yeah, that's nothing on any production company or producers at all. That's equity. That's just what the equity UK equity rules are. So like,
how peculiar.
It's not any. It's like that's what every UK tour is.
The only time I've had them like sort the travel and accommodation is when you go internationally.
Yeah.
So if you'd go to Ireland, right?
Anytime I've worked abroad, every time I've worked abroad,
then they would sort it out, the flights and
which
the
is so funny.
accommodation.
So it's like if you can sort it out in different countries, surely you can do it in.
They just don't because it's
But equity's working on it. It'll probably be like in 8 years maybe.
When I did West Side Story, literally everything down to the smallest thing was sorted out for us. Like taxi from my house to the airport, the flight, we all got in a bus at the airport. We all stayed in the same hotel. We all got buses, the same tour bus to and from the theatre. Like, it's all sorted.
Surely it would be more cost effective for them to do it that way, because then they could just mass book it.
That's what you think.
In theory, they try to pitch it. They try to pitch the current system as well. Technically, because we give you a budget, if you find somewhere to live that's cheaper, you're making money. So like in theory,
did we ever make money? No.
In theory, in theory, with the version we have now, we have the option to like make a little more salary essentially. Yeah, but it's so stressful. It's so horrible. Nobody wants it. Like I feel like everyone would rather have it all sorted for themselves.
A 2 penny.
Yeah. A galleon. You're making a peanut.
A doubloon. Yeah. So how many fictional currencies can we name?
Touring is tough.
Huh?
How many fictional currencies can we name?
What a strange
galleon, canoe. That's a
Imperial
real thing.
credits.
That's a blues
credit. Yeah.
Monopoly money.
Monopoly money.
God. An Electrum piece from D&D.
A V-Buck.
A V-Buck.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyways.
Sorry.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah. So out of Heathers now, fresh work. Of course, Keelan, leading man for the West End debut.
More like supporting man.
Is that what we call
Premiere.
it?
Huh?
West End premiere.
West End premiere.
original West End cast.
UK premiere.
World premiere. This
World
version,
premiere of Clueless the musical.
yeah.
Leading man.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit. Who do you play? What's the title?
Yes.
Give us the spiel.
So it is Clueless the musical. We've got KT Tunstall writing the music.
Oh yes.
We've got Glenn Slater writing the lyrics. You know him from Sister Act, Tangled,
Oh, amazing.
Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
He's a legend. So the music and lyrics, yeah, it's great. But then, yes, I'm playing if you've seen the movie, I'm playing the Paul Rudd character. His name is Josh Lucas.
Amazing.
He is like what would you say? No. What's the opposite of the red herring? Where it's like...
The yellow tuna.
the yellow tuna. He's like the slow burn love interest throughout the entire thing. And definitely like more on the back burner content-wise than JD.
Yeah.
JD definitely had a stronger presence in the show. I'm very much more like Emmett in Legally Blonde.
Brilliant.
In this.
Some beautiful songs as well.
But I get
We've had the pleasure of listening to some.
Yeah, no, like I still get like 2 solos and a duet, a bunch of other little random bits, but definitely like a lot more chill than JD.
And how's the process behind kind of developing like a premiere as opposed to going into something that's so well established? Like
it is so different and very interesting.
Is there a lot more freedom with it?
Yes, it's literally like night and day. Because Heather's, we had 2 weeks of rehearsals. And because it's a formula, it's a science of how they know how to get that show up. But also going into a show that had such huge love and support behind it was like very comforting. This is like the complete opposite. So I've been with this for a year because we did a development run, like a fully produced workshop run of it for 2 weeks in Bromley last year. And now it's transferred and a lot of the team are different and the show is very different as well. Okay. So I've seen like all the iterations of it. But like literally every single day, everything changes.
Yeah.
Full songs, just cut, full new songs, added in, lines, choreo, the plot as a whole, everything is like constantly shifting until we eventually get to that place where we lock it in. We're like halfway through tech and like we're still I'm sure there's much to come in terms of like what is our final version of this going to be, but it's also scary because because for now my next big job in the UK, this is brand new. I am the first person. There is no pre-existing love of this show. We have to, so it's our job to try to create a group of people that will love this show. So it's very nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking, and because JD is so set in his ways, it was like I had a great groundwork, and now this character, it's all me. Obviously, I have Paul Rudd from the movie as inspiration, but I've never heard any other guy sing these songs. Never heard any other guy say these lines. Obviously, they're different from the movie. So I feel like a weird like pressure where I'm like, am I making the right choice? Because JD, I had about 800 people to look back and be like, oh, I really like that choice. That's a good choice. I'm making all these choices out of thin air, which feels great. It feels great to have the freedom to do that. But it is scary. But it's really cool because also like, if I can tailor, it's reached the point where like I am able to like tailor some of the content around me, and they've tailored it around me. They're like, oh, that sits really nicely in your voice. Let's do that. Which is such a privilege. Yeah. It's such a privilege. But it is scary. It is scary.
That's how... I've never had that until now. I'm doing White Rose. And I'm getting a bit of that.
Yeah.
Like they're changing songs to fit me.
Yeah.
Like we're changing keys or changing lyrics. And because we're now doing it... We're not doing it in American like they did in Broadway. We're doing it in English or in our own accents. And so some things, like there's a line I say... Can't say the full thing on here. We'll get demonetized. I march with that. March with that damn something flag in my hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just such an American way of saying things. And it's like that damn flag, that damn.
Because it was written for Americans originally, wasn't it? Yeah.
Like loads of stuff's being changed. Like I say, footsteps in the yard at one point. I was like, I think
you'd say garden.
But that's what I was like, footsteps in the garden. But it's like it's getting changed and it's so exciting to see. But it's scary. I'm like, am I going to remember all this? Am I going to? Next time we come to
You're still very early in. Well, I'd say
we've got about
rehearsals.
2.5 weeks. Yeah, 2.5 weeks. Yeah, but like I say, it's a much shorter process for you.
When do you open?
Our first preview as of now is February 15th.
Exciting!
We'll see if that sticks, because it's always a bit wishy-washy with tacking new shows like previews, because that's what previews are for. Previews are for working out the kinks. And if one of the kinks happens to be that we have to open the next day, then maybe that's what.
Well, let us know when we can come. And you're February 15th. That was a bit Graham Norton. You've never been on the show.
Oh, Mr. Calvert.
Mine's February 27th.
Oh, it's all good.
Oh yeah, we've got 2 very good Jeff Goldblum impressions.
As if he was sitting right, not here, but like this close to you.
Yeah, he was in our
crazy.
Tell me, Iván,
See you.
you're what?
What are you trying to say?
He can't. He's stuck in Jeff.
Within this world, I agree. Like, I much prefer like originating characters.
Yeah.
It's like way more rewarding.
But
that's not what you were at.
Of course, finish Heathers.
Yes.
Go back into audition. We've got a young follower base who are all into the drama kind of stuff. They of course want to know about auditioning stuff. You come out of Heathers, you've been in Heathers for ages. Back into auditioning. What is the most daunting thing about auditions, and how do you prep for auditions?
I would see my audition experience. I feel like is quite unique because I have ADHD. So like I literally have like a learning disability, and I feel like with auditions, it's essentially having to like learn. Not always. Like a lot of the time, you bring your own stuff, and that's perfect. But a lot of the time, you have to like learn material with a very quick turnaround. So for me specifically, auditions are like the most stressful possible situation. I love a self-tape. I think because of COVID,
I hate self-tape.
Because of COVID, we did so much self-taping at uni, and I've always like been interested in like videography and stuff. So I've just grown to really feel comfortable in a self-tape space, so I can like perform.
You've got a very unique style with your self-tape. Like I've seen some of your cool edits and stuff.
His self-tapes go crazy.
He's
And self-tapes are another level.
They're so good.
But that is kind of like the style of how you do them has helped you kind of stand out, I guess. In the self-tape. Do you think that's like a recommended thing to do? I mean, it's maybe not industry standard, but
it's not industry standard. This is something like whenever I sort of do interviews or podcasts, we'll end up talking about ADHD stuff, and something I'm really trying to push for is just being aware of like how different versions of auditions are different, like just try and get more accessibility for neurodivergent people in the sort of audition space, because it'd be lovely if, like, say for a first round where you're just asking to see someone to sing some material or whatever, it'd be lovely if it was an option to be able to self-tape it that's more comfortable, because you're just trying to show a first impression. And then later down the line, when you're in the second or third or fourth week of auditions, by then the material's fully in you. It's the let's see you in 2 days doing this stuff.
And there's so much of that, isn't there?
And it's really heartbreaking because like there's so many auditions that I've done that I knew went terribly because of the learning aspect of it. Because as in like I went in, and even though I'd been drilling 2 or 3 songs that I had to learn for the past 24 hours, even though it's in me, once you're like in front of a panel for people deciding whether you're going to work for potentially a year, the stakes are so high that, at least with how my brain works, it completely ruins any shot I have of delivering the material correctly.
At that point, it becomes like just like a memory test as well.
And like I feel like I'm being tested on how good I am at learning material instead of performing material. So it feels like they're auditioning the wrong thing, at least in my experience. Like when I did this show called Banger Nation, which was at the Rep, that was probably I got really lucky that I was really good in my in-person audition, because I was meant to have an audition like in 2 days, and they gave me a song and scenes to learn, and I was like desperately trying to learn it because I really cared about this part in this project, and I got really lucky that they canceled the audition and were like, oh, we're doing it next week instead.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
So by the time that I was gonna do that audition, I had already learned it, but then I had the week for it to actually settle,
Yeah.
and that changed everything. And when I went into the audition, like I knew when the audition was happening, I knew I was crushing it. But usually that's not the case.
Yeah.
That's not the experience I have.
It's so
It just
many
goes a
times.
long way
Yeah.
to give people time.
And that just to circle back on that. That's a role that Iván got to originate and be the first.
Yeah.
one.
Oh, maybe.
So you've had that. He's had that experience as well.
Yeah. It was really exciting at the time because all three of us were playing leading men in musicals at the same time. You were Sky Mamma Mia. You were doing Clueless.
First version
the
of Clueless,
workshop.
Yeah.
And then I was
When
playing.
was this, like
Billy.
23?
Yeah.
This was
Early
A year
25.
ago.
May of last year.
Oh no, yeah.
It was
24.
February.
May of last year. 24.
February, March.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't get to see him in Clueless because I was doing a show.
I didn't get to
rep.
see it either.
I luckily
Really-
did get to see.
You got to see back
because I was my run was only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So then I got to go
Okay.
see these guys. But
Yeah.
But I got to
we
originate
shared the
a
same
role.
day off, so I couldn't
It was
see
so
it.
yeah.
nice.
But now we're back, so hopefully you'll be able
Now
to see
we
this
back.
Yeah.
We back,
I was trying to
son.
get you if you see if I can get you to press night or something.
I would,
Okay.
yes, that would be great.
Okay, we need to ask you both the question that we say we ask everyone, and we've had two guests.
No.
You are
I
third and
remember-
fourth guest,
I remember when
and
we
we
first
forgot
talked
to
about
ask
this.
the second guest. So we're gonna remember to ask you.
I didn't even ask Jeff and John. I should have asked them that.
Well, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what can you
Oh, Jeff. Jeff.
Ivan.
Jeff.
So
Yes.
Yes.
yes. What movie would you like to see?
Aside
as a
from
musical?
Superbad.
Yeah, because you've already done Superbad.
I know.
And I still
His
think
go-to.
that you stole that from me.
No, in the episode, I'm very open about it. It's a
Oh my bad.
It's a
Yeah,
flat
that's why I wore the shirt.
it's a flat
Thumbnail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine
Go on.
is Holes.
Okay.
You know,
Shia
the
LaBeouf.
book,
Yeah.
the movie, crowd favorite. It's great. I have it all planned. There's already like a parody musical that I've studied just to see what they were doing, and they changed the plot completely. So it's not a proper Holes musical.
Stanley
But
Yelnats.
there's
What a
so
guy.
much possibility. I think there's so many moments that could be songs. Like you know the flashback where the guy was like, "I could fix that."
Yeah.
That's a song right there. Like I could fix that. Like a little flashback song. That's perfect.
The one where he's the little kid Zero. His little
Yeah.
flashback as well.
Yep.
That could be a song.
Yep.
I know that guy.
Sleeping in the what?
Cleo Thompson.
He dresses up as Max from the Goofy movie, doesn't he? Yeah.
He's in
Oh,
all of
sick.
like he's in the US movie talk scene.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'd seen him.
Oh,
I
sick.
saw him recently in something. I was like,
Dude,
man,
he's the GOAT.
That's
What,
Zero.
if it was to be a musical,
Yeah.
what current musical would it be like? Do you reckon?
So, the definitely, I'd say the more heartfelt stuff in the show would be very much like The Outsiders,
Oh yeah.
which currently won all the Tonys on Broadway, and The Outsiders as well is like a musical based on like a book that everyone reads.
and
And
maybe.
Holes as well, especially in the American system. I don't know. Do you guys read it here?
I studied it in English. I read
You
it.
studied it here?
We read the book, and I watched the film in English.
in the
Yeah.
American
Outsiders?
system, it's like most
Holes.
people's Holes.
I never read the book.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, well, for me, like that
Just
was
grew up
like
on the
one of
movie.
the books that you like read. It's super short, really easy read, and
Yeah.
there's a movie, so it's perfect
Yeah.
for teaching.
That's
stuff.
such a good idea.
So like so many people know that show, but yeah, the heartfelt stuff, sort of Outsiders, kind of like folky, poppy sort of vibes, and then for all the like different like, I think there's a lot of opportunity for rap in as well. Like when the other like digging characters introduce themselves, they'd be
Yeah.
freestyling like. Sort of like, what time is it? Showtime. Sort of energy,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'd
That'd
say
be
yeah,
so
pop
good.
and rap.
Remember that bit in the movie where he smell that? What does it smell like? Nothing. It smells like nothing.
And then the old man goes like,
right?
that's my favorite bit. It's very
I'm
niche.
tired of this, Grandpa.
It's very niche.
Well, that's too damn bad.
That's the thing. So many memeable moments. Like I think there's such a
Yeah.
cult following behind the
Is that
original
from
movie and the
Holes?
book.
Yeah, bro. It's from the flashback, like the desert digging.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
damn.
flashback.
And then musically, for the flashback sort of scenes and stuff, that could be like a more like old timey sort of musical genre, like this sort of current
Golden
day
Age.
is like pop, Outsiders, rap, and
It's
then the
so
flashbacks
true.
are Golden Age, sort of like it's perfect, honestly.
Oh, wow.
This guy's
And,
spitting.
and Act 1, you want to know how Act 1 ends?
Yeah.
Act 1 ends in the moment where the guard is telling Zero, you spell D-I-G. And then Zero goes, gig! Bam! Smacks
Lights.
the guard and sprints off.
Yeah.
Lights.
Oh.
And then Act 2 starts with them having their whole side quest on their own in the desert.
Yep.
And I was even thinking that most of the flashbacks could be reserved for Act 2. We could restructure the movie a little bit. Because they're having so much one-on-one time that you can put more of the flashbacks on Act 2.
And then all
Act
the
1
digging
focuses
guys
on
in
the
Act
captain of
1
the
could
team.
come on as the flashback characters in Act 2.
Like they do in like Wizard of
Exactly.
Oz.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it needs
That's
to be a
really
musical.
shit.
I don't
And
have
think
as-
it
I
would
don't have as
sell. I think
detailed an
producers
answer.
would fucking
Okay,
love it.
that's a tough act to follow.
He had quality. I have quantity.
Okay.
You got a few.
Let's go.
I wrote a list.
What?
Okay.
A list.
Number 1, big one. Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Versus the
Scott
world.
Pilgrim versus
Have you
the
seen
World.
it?
No.
What?
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a comic book
You'd love
movie.
it.
You would love Scott Pilgrim.
I know.
There's already like musical.
But it already
numbers in
is
it.
low-key a musical because it's about punk bands.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that would work. I know I haven't seen Scott Pilgrim. What's the second one?
Yes. Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think that'd make an amazing show. And I think that Kevin Murphy and Lawrence O'Keefe, who wrote Heathers, would be perfect
Okay.
to write
Yeah,
that.
They do good
I think that
music.
their music style and their comedy style would perfectly suit
Have
the
you
raunchiness
seen-
of Kick-Ass.
Have any of you seen the movie The Sea Beast?
Yeah.
It's a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
The music's by Larry.
Really?
Yeah, the music.
Oh,
yeah,
I haven't seen it.
wow.
I need to go see it.
Sea
It's
Beast-
like How to Train Your Dragon, but with
red
ocean but with ocean monsters, and
I've
it's,
seen the
yeah, it's
poster.
Larry. That's really cool.
That's a great movie, yeah.
Yeah.
And Carl Urban is
Oh, yeah.
with the
Yeah.
The Chief.
Think about
Yeah.
Kick-Ass is there's so much fighting.
Yeah, but that could
The
be
fight
one.
choreography
But that would be one of the
like
huge
really
selling
intense.
points. Is that it would be like
Yeah.
a really, really awesome action
If they did it
Stage
right.
combat.
musical.
If they
Right.
do it really
Yeah,
cool,
really cool.
Like
but I
people
can
on
imagine them
harnesses
doing
getting
it,
like punched and
especially
stuff.
like stuff in the street stuff. If like the lights are strobing,
Yeah.
and they're like,
To be fair,
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim as well has got like really intense fight scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could. But they're so cartoony that you could really like camp it up for stage and make
Yeah.
it super theatrical. Yeah, people flying
Do you
in.
think
But
Kick-Ass
also,
would be more like
Kick-
straight?
I think Kick-Ass you could have a mix.
yeah.
But also he has the, those two batons. Make them rubber, and you could actually be smacking people.
Yeah.
doink, doink.
Like
Like-
LARPing and stuff, like
Yeah, exactly.
Like the croquet
exactly.
mallet, you know.
Obviously, you wouldn't have the jetpack. You probably wouldn't have the whole jetpack minigun thing at the end. But like adaptations,
You could.
but adaptations always take out the crazy CGI from movies,
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. With Back
okay.
to the Future and the flying car, you could totally get a jetpack.
Yeah. But I feel like Kick-Ass, the musical would be a bit more grassroots than Back to the Future. It'd be more like fringy.
Yeah, a little less budget.
Okay, then I've got. We already done this, but super bad. Once again, that would have to be like. That would be like an off-Broadway, off-West End, fringe style. Like
Yeah.
you could do it in a black box theater. Like, now this is. I think this will be a heavy hitter for you guys.
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead.
Ooh, okay.
But now,
Tell me why. Tell me
okay,
why.
so I think that one of the main selling points, similar to Teeth, the musical, where one of the selling
Yes.
points is that the first 3 rows or so are the splash zone for blood, and you literally you get given tarps because you're gonna get sprayed with blood.
Do
I
you
think
know the
Shaun of the
movie
Dead.
Teeth?
No.
So, how do I put this kindly? The movie Teeth is about a lady who has a monster inside her hoo-ha.
Not a monster. She just
Well,
has
she-
teeth
she has
in her.
Yeah. Is it a monster?
Right. And
No,
that's
no.
a musical.
I think it's just part of her body.
So it was a movie turned into a musical, and it's like campy horror,
Oh, right.
like fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And getting sprayed with blood. I think Shaun of the Dead would be the same, where it's just like ridiculous spraying blood. It'd be like, all the marketing would be like the goriest show on the West End.
I think that's
like,
really good. The opening number would be like one of those, the classic "Welcome to" songs where he's doing the walk to and from the shop.
but also most of Act 2 would probably take place in the Winchester, like in the pub,
Yeah.
right? So then it's like easy. You're in one location for most of it, and I think it'd be really funny.
Oh, it's
Scott
sick.
Pilgrim had good write as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Another action sort of musical.
Yeah. And
I like that idea. Where would
Need
some of the
more action
songs be?
musicals.
What would some of the...
uh,
There'd be a song, where they spent like 5 minutes just talking about the plan.
yes. Oh, we do.
That
And
would
then
be
there would be the
a song.
repeating motif that's like, and then wait for all of this to blow over. Like, you know?
And they'd be like,
There could be a song for the friend, like the funny friend character, sort of introducing the town and how like nothing bad ever happens here type
that'd have
stuff.
to be like the opening number.
Yeah.
Well, the opening number, like, as in like he starts off outside of the town and moves there.
No, that's Hot Fuzz.
You're talking about Hot Fuzz.
Oh,
Hot Fuzz.
I just got hot fuzzed. So yeah,
You've been Hot Fuzz.
you've been
Fuzz.
hot fuzz.
Send
Yeah,
us to
I
someone
fully
who totally
but
hot
hot
fuzzed
fuzz the
it.
musical.
No, that would also be pretty good.
Yeah,
With the
Shaun of
town.
Dead. Yeah.
That could be good.
Well,
Edgar Wright just needs to make musicals, man.
Baby Driver would could
I always thought Baby Driver would be a great musical.
no,
Yeah.
that's a
Driving,
style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always pissing Katy Perry.
Now,
Pissing Katy
my
Perry.
next one was The Terminal. Tom Hanks.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah, because that film is really fucking boring, and that is. And my parents keep telling me not to.
They keep telling me to not let them swear.
That film is really boring, and there's opportunity for songs to really spice it up.
Yeah, and there's so many
I
like
agree
funny
with
side
that,
characters
yeah.
that would
Do you
have
think the
great.
movie's boring?
Is
moments.
Zoe Saldana?
No, I think
Yes.
wholesome.
Yeah, she is.
it is a bit slow. Like maybe I probably wouldn't say boring, but like I know what you mean.
It's very like
The I really enjoyed that movie. What did I give it?
I give it 3 stars.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, who is.
It's a good
Oh,
movie,
Zoe
but
Saldana,
it's
isn't
dull. It's not one of Spielberg's. It's not one of my favourite Spielbergs.
Did it Spielberg?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very out of character for Spielberg. I think,
But like the villain doesn't Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci plays the.
You know, he'd have some great songs.
Yeah.
Like,
Comedic little plankton ass character.
Plankton ass.
the Krabby
so
Patty formula. My diabolical plan.
Time for plan
And then this one's like a bit of a stretch. I don't know. I was just spitballing here. I said The Goonies.
We were saying the Goonies earlier.
Oh,
Goonies for sure.
and I know you already said this as well, but Stand By Me would be great.
That's what we had that exact conversation earlier. Yeah, the Goonies would be really good.
I haven't seen Stand By Me, so I don't.
I think
can't confirm or deny.
I think Stand By Me could be. I'd rather see that over Goonies.
Yeah,
I
because
think-
Goonies is too
Stand By Me
much
sounds like a
adventure.
musical.
Yeah, I was
as
going
well.
to say Goonies very kind of. There's not many moments of rest for a song.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like
Stand By Me is just majorly
It's
that.
so heartfelt as well that it just lends itself to being
great
quite
character
campy
moments,
musical,
lot of
yeah.
whereas Goonies, I think, it's just too much.
And Stand By Me is slightly older, so that you don't have to worry about casting kids. Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, you can age them up in Stand
True.
By
With
Me.
Goonies,
Yeah.
you have to get like a.
You do
young
what like
cast.
the Creek Boys did, and they hire people our age just pretend they're 14 or 15.
yeah, exactly.
We
Excuse
live,
me.
we live near a hospital,
Oh,
so we get a lot of
that's
ambulance.
not, and you don't have the noise-proof windows.
No, these windows are awful. They're a bit cold.
Drafty.
Bit
But
drafty.
yeah, that's the end of the list I
Those are
compiled.
good choices. Those are really
are
good
great
choices.
choices. So that's a Scene Stealer staple, apparently.
That's twice we've done
We
it.
also
Classic
like
Scene Stealers.
a bit of a game. So in this first episode with Keelan and Iván, we are going to do a little get to know the kid. Let me do that again.
Lean
So that-
forward. This could be a TikTok as well.
So that little segment was a Scene Stealer staple. The movies to musicals key question. What the fuck am I saying? Right, cut all of that. Movies to musical is a scene stealer. Movies to musicals is a Scene Stealers staple. However, what is also a staple is a little game. So in this first episode with Keelan and Iván, Kit, we're going to do a little bit of a get to know the Mr. and Mrs. style game. So, cards at the ready, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who don't know, I'm going to ask you a question. You are then going to reveal the name of the person who you think is the answer. Right, starting off, we'll go with who is the best dancer? 3, 2, 1, reveal. Oh!
Depends on the style.
Yeah, it depends on the style.
Depends
yeah.
on the
If it's
style,
like
okay.
commercially breaky hip hop, it's Iv.
Okay.
I think in terms of specialization in one genre of dance,
Yeah, it's it.
but maybe more broad.
Toby's got the
Yeah.
technique. Like Toby can do West Side Story. I can't do West Side Story.
Got you.
You know. But I can do
You
Hamilton.
couldn't see me doing background. There are a few reasons I can't do Hamilton.
You can be Charles Lee.
Classic. I could be Charles Lee.
Or Samuel Seabury.
Yeah.
Who has the best hair?
Not currently.
3, 2, 1, reveal. Iván, Toby.
Thank you. I was gonna say.
Hey, you said me again. Hang on, sorry. Him over
Oh, you put
here.
the accent on
I
it.
like his. I mean, no, your hair is
He's
sick.
got great hair.
Honestly, it's between both of them. I feel like
Hey guys,
Seriously,
Dude, no, Toby has
both of you
thick,
have good
nice hair.
hairline.
I have thin, mousy hair, bro. It sucks.
there's
That's
three
what this
nice
mouse
head hairs
is.
here.
Dude, are you kidding?
I think both of you have better hairlines than me, so I couldn't vote myself.
Half of my personality is stressing about my shitty hair.
But because you stress about it, you actually style it the most and make it nicer.
I was going
I
to say,
think.
yeah.
I leave mine all the time.
Okay.
So-
I mean, he's just got his hair naturally is what I have to like put in like 3 products to do.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like we all got pretty
Pretty nice
decent
hair. Nice hair.
All right.
We take care of it.
Who has the best dress sense?
Oh, come on now.
3,
Why am I even bothering flipping through these names?
1. Iván.
I'm voting for myself on this.
Do you think you can see this on the camera?
Yeah.
But they both do really well. You guys both dress really well.
Oh,
I'd say.
Yeah, we get that.
But I give advice every now and then.
You do. We run to Iván and go,
Yeah, if I've ever dressed well, it's because I've consulted you.
it's a flat end, but
Who's most likely to be late to a rehearsal?
easy.
3, 2, 1, reveal. Iván.
You said Keelan.
I said,
Well, I just missed them completely.
I'm good when it comes to rehearsals.
Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one thing that I'll be good at being on time for.
Okay.
I was
I only say this because of
late
that
on
one
my
day in
first
Heather's.
day of Heather's.
Yeah, that's
the
why
second
I
time
said
around.
that.
Like I
You were there on the
literally,
first day.
not at the Haymarket, but when I did it at the other palace, my alarms didn't work or whatever, and I literally woke up at the time I was meant to be there.
It's funny that,
And I got dressed, blah, blah, blah,
your
and I got-
body wakes you up and you're like, oh, this is the
I
exact
like
time I need to be.
sprinted out of the house, but I got really lucky that because it was the first day, everyone was like still like chatting and stuff and getting to know each other, so no one even noticed that I was late.
Oh,
like
great.
we didn't
Oh,
start
amazing.
till like an hour late anyways, so
Right.
I made it just in time. But yeah, definitely
Right.
me. It depends on the thing.
Like I've said a van for every single answer so far.
Who,
But you're on time.
who
You don't have
has
that issue.
Who has the worst taste in movies? Or the worst? Let's say the worst movie
Gonna get
taste.
heated.
Okay.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Iván.
Oh,
Yourself.
Yeah.
Damn.
really?
We've all got one vote.
It was between you two. I feel
What do you mean between us?
for me, because you love cinema, but you have some takes that I disagree with. So I feel like
Why
I
have
don't know. And for the same reason, we
Yeah.
disagree on quite a
Why
few
yourself?
films.
Just because these two, like, I can just enjoy a really bad movie. Like, I don't know. These two they have stronger opinions.
Yeah.
I'm not as bothered.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just along for the ride. But, like, you know.
I just like Bo's Afraid, man.
Bo is Afraid sucks. It's
I was
so
listening to
bad.
the podcast and I was really disappointed with some of the ratings of movies.
Who is the biggest flirt?
Oh no. You stitched me.
Do we count down or do we just do it like?
3,
2, 1.
I can't put myself.
You can.
You can. Why do you spell my name with an I?
Tobias.
Because your name is Tobias. The shortened version of your name would just have an I, right?
Tobi.
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 To buy.
Tobi.
Tobi.
He's the guy who builds the boat.
He's the
the
guy who
guy
builds
who
the
Why Keelan?
Because he couldn't put
couldn't
himself.
put myself.
Definitely.
Because I couldn't put myself.
You can.
No, I'm not. I don't believe.
I would
it.
myself for best
It
dressed.
is totally.
Why are you fucking kidding me?
It is you though.
I think
I've only
charming.
met.
You can't even say it with a straight face.
That's called flirting.
Moving on.
Charming
Moving on.
is just a fancy word for flirting.
I haven't written any more.
It's a good game.
Think of
Think
one.
of them. Who is the hardest to live with?
Oh, bloody hell.
What does it mean?
I don't think it's hard to live with either of them, really.
Okay. Who's the messiest
myself.
in the flat?
I was gonna. Okay.
Who's the
You were ready to answer that.
Well, as myself.
Oh, really?
Just because, yeah.
Who's the
Who's the messiest in the flat?
Probably still. Well, depends. I'm really tidy, but I'm not really clean. As in, like, I struggle. I struggle to pick
Yeah.
up the Hoover and brush and stuff, but I'm always like tidy and stuff.
One. Reveal.
But yeah.
Only because he forgets.
I forget
Not because he's not
Yeah.
tidy.
Got
Just
you.
I
because
try
of
my
ADHD,
best,
you just forget
Yeah.
things.
Like I'll forget dishes, or I'll forget that something was mine. Or,
But we all understand it as well. We all understand like if there's a pan on the side, it's not been left there because no one doesn't want to do it.
Malice.
Yeah, no malice.
yeah.
No malice.
I try my best. I try
I'm
my
going
best.
here to spite you. Who is the biggest liability on a night out?
Well, wait, isn't like.
Ooh.
No, yeah.
Okay, ready? Hang on. We'll reveal at the same
Are
time.
you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, reveal.
Because you like to make friends, and you start talking to random people.
Keelan just disappears.
Yeah.
I just get myself into situation. I just go on side quests.
Bro, ever since uni, like in university, we'd go out, and then this guy would just start parkouring in like the craziest spots, and it would always be like, There's so many times where I'm just like scared that you're gonna hurt yourself, essentially. But he never does.
No.
Never do.
But he keeps us on our edge.
No. Oh, sweet.
That's lovely. Okay.
But yes, what would you?
All the above.
You're stranded on a desert island. Who's most likely to take charge? Three, two, one. Toby, Keelan. Keelan, by
You?
yourself?
I think.
No one
I
believes.
think
No one believes in
I think in most, yes, I watch a lot of the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. No, I think that in most situations, in most emergency situations, Toby would be the guy to take charge. I would gladly let him do that. But if we were stranded, I've literally been to survival camps as a kid. I know what to do.
Canadian blood.
Canadian shit.
I think if us three were in an emergency,
I think we'd be pretty
all be
fine.
very involved.
We'd be
We'd be
We'd all-
fine.
I think we'd be quite fine in a lot of situations.
But like, I could tell you how to build a shelter. I could tell you how to build a fire.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have like a handiman sort of.
You do.
So
Yes.
I would definitely be like trying to like build us
You
up.
see how many holes are in his room? It's great.
Holes the musical.
Glory holes the music.
In comedy, that's what we call a callback.
I feel like we'd all like very much be working together.
We'd be good. We'd be fun. We should go on one of those shows. We should go on like a survival show.
Yeah, as a friend group.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Let's do that.
Like, isn't there like? I swear there's a bunch of shows where you like apply like as a group.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
You
so.
know what I mean? Like, there's definitely like money sort of based money
I'll
price
just do it
shows
as a
where you
YouTube
come as a
thing.
group.
You just do it as for the kid channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the kid channel.
'Cause we can
So,
use the-
so that was a brief little Mr. and Mrs. with the kids. It's been a pleasure to have Keelan McAuley.
What?
Take out the second L.
McAuley.
That's what I said.
No, McAuley.
It's been a pleasure to have Keelan McAuley and Iván
Fucking hell.
Fernandez Gonzalez.
Very nice.
Yeah. On the podcast, and of course, Mr. Tobias Turley. The kids. Check them out at kids.
Yeah, what are your apps,
What's
boys?
the ads?
Keelan.McAuley.
And
You can find me at @IvánForgone_ on Instagram, or just IvánForgone on TikTok.
and if you want more of these three, they do have a channel called
Kit.content?
Yeah.
I think it's
something-
actually Kit.
Oh, it's
Talk.
Kit Talk. That's right. It's Kit.talk.
Amazing. This has actually been the first little episode with Iván and Keelan, a little bit of a get to know them and a little bit of a talk about the theatre industry. But as we know, we're a stage and screen podcast,
Obviously.
aren't we? So after this, our next episode will be with Keelan and Iván again, but this time we'll be talking all things movies. So make sure you come back. I've been Henry Calvert at henry.calvert.
Tobias.Turley, probably, maybe. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We'll see you next week
Yeah.
for more Keelan and Iván talk.
See you then.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.